Yeah. I mean, it truly is. And then the YouTube deal, that was totally by mistake, dude. Totally by mistake. Even I had gotten into the social media stuff. I'd gotten all that. And I was understanding that. Like that part was important. And I was enjoying that. And I was starting to work with companies. But the YouTube deal was different. The YouTube started from FLW had created the rule that there's going to be no more co-anglers. Well, once they created that, they realized, hey, we're going to have a problem filling marshals just to ride because we have so many guys. Like the Elite Series can do it, but there's only 80 of them. With us, it's going to be harder because there's 170 of us. So we know we're going to have that void. So how are we going to address, controlling rules and things like that? So they came up with the rule that everybody had to run a camera. Well, at the time, I just like everybody else on the FLW tour, like, what the hell is a camera? What kind of camera? We're going to turn our phone on? What are we going to do? Go buy GoPros. So the first year of that was a huge learning experience. And you come back home, and we were just keeping the video for if Bill Taylor was to call and go, hey, you've been, written up for a rule violation. We want to see your camera, or your card. So we kept all that stuff. That's really all we kept it for. But you start getting all this footage from your day, and you have a good day, and you're like, hey, I want to see me catch that 7-pounder, So you start watching it, and you're like, hey, I've got all this footage already here. Like, why don't I use it for something? And so then that kind of grew, if that makes sense. And I became more comfortable with the cameras. I became more comfortable talking in front of the camera. I became, where you didn't feel like quite such an idiot, which I still do to this day. If I walk out in a parking lot and talk to my camera, I feel like an idiot. But it doesn't come natural. But I enjoyed it. And then the editing process was a complete nightmare in the beginning, and still is to this day, but not like it was. But man, I enjoy that part too. And so then I started learning more about cameras and started talking to Scott Martin and like learning from him. And I had a lot of friends that knew a lot about it. Matt Pangerack and Mark Jeffries at Bass Talk Live definitely helped me tremendously with the editing issues. I had to kind of evolve from a very elementary editing system from my phone and my iPad, whatever, just using free, iMovie or whatever, to where I needed some more and wanted to be able to do some more stuff. So I went to Vegas Pro, and I went to Vegas because that's what they use, and I knew that they were right down the street and could help me. But I'll tell you, that learning curve was steep, son. Panger got some phone calls at night that I was not happy, but I got it. I got over it, and I'm getting faster every day. But I enjoy it, and I think that's probably the biggest thing that has helped me be successful in YouTube early on. Because this year, I mean, dude, I'm fixing to hit 10,000 subscribers, and I've only been there 1 year. I couldn't be more appreciative. The feedback that I get from it is it's overwhelming. YouTube's been a great deal for me. Like, it's just kind of helped me grow and become, like you say, like somebody else. It's another platform for me to be able to work, but it's the most enjoyable platform that I've ever worked on in fishing, if that makes sense. For me personally, I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, and I think you do some cool stuff, and I've been actually really impressed. Like, the thought of getting 10,000 subs in a year is pretty sweet. I'm pretty stoked when I've gained 2,000 subs in a year. So one thing I want to highlight, and I don't know if everybody has seen your stuff, but one of the series that I think, and I don't know, it's probably not your most popular, but I think this Hallman High School Fishing is a really unique thing, and I think it's underrated what you're doing there. Maybe just, you can probably describe it better than I can. Maybe just give a little.
It was an idea that I had early this year. So I wanted to do a series. And so like everyone in YouTube, especially early in their YouTube, we're just throwing paint on the wall to see what sticks. But this idea was just like you say, man, when it kind of came in my head, I really liked it. So it's basically a matchup between me and a high school kid. And I give them control of the boat, just like they're the pro and I'm the co-angler, and they can fish wherever they want. They can go wherever they want, and they get first cast and first shot at everything, just like it's a pro-am event. And it kind of gives me the opportunity to teach some of the co-angling ethics that go unwritten rules that kind of go unsaid in our sport, because that's where a lot of these kids are headed. Out of high school, they go to college, but there's going to be a lot of co-angler stuff if they go to BFLs or Federation or whatever. There's going to be a lot of co-angler situations for them going forward. So I like that mindset. I do teaching timeouts during the period, so I'm really trying to help the kids, focus in on some things like with an hour or two into the day, I've seen a couple things that I noticed that they're doing mistakes. And so I call a teaching timeout and I turn the camera on and I explain to them, what I see that they're missing, trying to help them have a better day. That kid right there learned really quick. And, but they do, this one right here, that one right there on the left, those big fish, he was overlooking the grass bed. There wasn't very much grass on that lake, but where the grass was, there was giants in it. And by the end of the day, he'd figured it out. He went back, and I think he beat me at the very end because he catches like a 7 or 8 pounder. But really, it's not about. So we keep our 3 best fish, and at the end of the day, we have a gentleman's bet. Usually, they get a falcon rod if they beat me. It's a day with a kid. I'll tell you this: it was not my most successful videos on YouTube, and that part is disappointing to me to this day. And I don't really know why, but they were the most enjoyable videos for me to make. And let me say this right, they were the most enjoyable videos for me to shoot. Being involved in that day was the most fun that I had. Editing was I've got a lot of cameras going and I've got a lot of footage, and so when I come back, they're the biggest, hardest thing to edit. They're kind of a monster there, but they did well, but they didn't just go over the moon like I hoped they would. I don't think I've got one more left. I filmed one in East Tennessee after we got done with one of the last opens, and I haven't released it yet. And I'm trying to get that out before 2021. So coming up the next couple of weeks. But that kid was phenomenal. He's probably one of the best fishermen I've been in a boat with. He's only 13 years old. I'm telling you, this little kid coming up the next one is freaking hammer. But the kids were all enjoyable. One of the kids that I fished against here in Oklahoma, he was a senior in high school. He's at Bethel now. And Bethel, if you guys don't know, that's the powerhouse. That's like the Alabama of college fishing, and he's over there now. So it's given me some. I've had some really, really good young fishermen in my boat this year and learned a lot, and I enjoy doing that with them.
Yeah, that's cool. I definitely wanted to borrow that this year locally here and kind of do some stuff, but the COVID was so strict. I mean, they really, the schools, our high school teams were not, they were all virtual tournaments. So I just feel like I didn't think it was in the best political move to do it, but I definitely want to borrow that and do that with some local stuff here in Minnesota this summer. And a few high school teams I already work with, and take some of those kids out and do something. I think it'd be really cool.
I think if the right person got it, or if it got in front of the right person, it would make a great TV show, a great YouTube series. I mean, it's really got a lot of upside to the idea of doing it that way. And it's a great opportunity for those young men to get in the boat and learn. And they do. They learn a lot. And, they're young and they make quite a few mistakes, some of them. So a lot of it's the same thing over and over with a different kid. They just got a blind spot somewhere. And as soon as you correct that blind spot they have, it's amazing, dude. They're just like, they adjust quick. I mean, quick.